Hello, welcome to Kids Corner, where I talk about picture books and middle grade books that I have read and would either recommend or not recommend for you or your children, because adults can also read picture books and middle grade books. So I'm going to start with the picture books and then move on to the middle grade. So in picture books, we have The Very Itchy Bear by Nick Bland. This is the board book. This is a whole series about a bear and his sort of adventures. This one's about the bear and a flea, and it is super cute. It's funny. My kids find it hilarious. It's very easy to read. It's a quick read, and the pictures are adorable. So this is a beloved book in our collection when we just want a quick, short, fun time. Then we have Floof by Heidi and McKinnon. My children purchased this during book week. It was the only book. Both of them came home and said, Mommy, we saw this book called Floof. Can we please have some money to get it? And does it have a lot of substance? No, not really, but it's adorable. And the kids love it because they absolutely think Floof is just the cutest thing ever. And I mean, like, how can you say no to this face? So this is just based on the cuteness and the looks, not so much the story. Then we have Ruby Red Shoes by Kate Knapp. Now this is an absolute delight. I adore the illustrations. It's about a little hare named Ruby Red Shoes. She wears red shoes, and sort of all of the adventures she gets up to and her relationship with her babushka, and sort of talks about the world and the environment and people and plants and trees and animals. And it's just very sweet. It's lovely. I absolutely really adore the illustrations. I think they're so gorgeous and quaint. And there's a whole series with this as well. It's a little wordy, I will say that, to read. It is a bit wordy, but it is a sweet tale. And once again, one of our favorites. On to the middle grade books that I read this week. So these ones I will rate because I read them too. So I think they're novels and they should be rated. So this is Out of My Mind by Sharon and Draper. This is quite heavy. It encompasses some pretty full-on themes to do with disabilities and family dynamics. So this is about an 11-year-old named Melody. She has cerebral palsy, so her body is severely disabled. She's unable to vocalize and pronounce words, so she cannot communicate. But inside she is incredibly intellectually gifted. So she has a photographic memory. I think it's called synesthesia, where certain words or sounds bring color. She sees colors for things and she associates colors with different words or flavors and things like that. But this is sort of about her journey into trying to connect to her family and to get them to understand like the entire world that's happening inside her head, and the people that champion her and the people that are prejudiced against her, and sort of how much harder it is for her to be a part of the world than people who don't have her conditions. Although there is some triumphs and some successes, there's a lot of, like I said, heaviness and challenges and tragedies and injustices. So it is more of a heavier read for kids. Still, it's well written. It's easy to read in Melody's POV. You really understand her frustrations and what it's like to be in her shoes. And my daughter absolutely loved this. This is one of her favorite books. I rated it 4 stars. But it is enjoyable, and yeah, I would recommend it. So this is A Reluctant Witch's Guide to Magic by Shivaun Plozza, and you follow Willow Birdwhistle, who discovers that she has magical powers and has to choose a coven, and there are 2 covens. I think it's Iron Tongue and Silverclaw, and she doesn't want to be a part of either of them. And to be honest, I don't blame her. Both sides are really not appealing. I think the Iron Tongues have like green, bald, warty bodies and like eating insects and are quite vulgar and vile. And then the Silverclaws have like nails that are curled into themselves, and they do their magic by dance. Look, it's just, they're both really utterly bizarre, and she really doesn't want to choose either. But if she doesn't, she will spontaneously combust on her birthday. So her parents have also been cloud cursed. They were cursed into clouds. It's okay, but it's really bizarre. And even as an adult, I was struggling to understand what was going on. A lot of the magic too is like nonsense words like winkle, pickler, diggle, pop, snoodle, spaghetti, fluggety, plink. And reading that constantly was just tiring. I didn't want to read nonsensical word after nonsensical word all the time. And it was just all over the place. It was hard to piece together what was going on. To be honest, I didn't find the main character that likable. I really liked her army of cats that followed her around. I wanted to know more about why that was happening. But yeah, as the book went on too, she sort of wants to like get her parents back. But then all these things that she says about her parents, how they used to speak about her, they didn't sound like very good people. So for me, this just wasn't it. And it read quite young. So I would, even though this is middle grade, it was quite juvenile. I'd say it was for like younger than 9-year-olds. But once again, it was really hard to understand the plot and the world building. And it was just very confusing. So yeah, this was a bit of a letdown and not one that I would personally recommend. And then I read Rainbow Grey, Eye of the Storm. This is the second in a series. I'll flip through some pages so you can see some illustrations for this, because this has really lovely illustrations. This is the second in the series. So this is about weatherlings, and they all have different powers to do with the elements of weather, except for Rainbow Grey, who has rainbow magic and is able to cast from all of the different types of weather, and is sort of her against the rogues. These rogues, former weatherlings who've decided that they would like to take over Earth and cause absolute chaos and storms and all that sort of thing. And it's always up to Rainbow Grey to save the day. The main star of this is Nim, the cloud cat. He's just the absolute best. My kids go nuts over the cloud creatures. It's their favorite element of this book. But like I said, the pictures are fantastic, so that makes it just an even more enjoyable experience to read. Ray herself is fine. She's a bit naive. She's a bit too trusting and sort of just dives in without fully thinking about it. So that can be a little annoying as an adult reader. But even my kids are like, Ray, no, like, can't you see this person's not a good person? What have you done? But yeah, this one had some deeper themes. This had death in it. Take that as you will. My children seemed fine with it. We did all shed a tear, but we were okay. Like, it's not so upsetting that it's traumatizing. It was fine. But there was that, yeah, it did go a bit darker in this one, but we love this series. I've given it 4 stars as an adult reader, but my kids absolutely were obsessed with this. We would read chapter after chapter every night. We couldn't just read one chapter. I could never get away with one chapter. They would always make me read more. We are looking forward to the next installment in this series. So those were the books that I read this month. The books that we are currently reading, we've decided to read another book by the same author, Lauren Allen Anderson, and that is the Amelia Fang series. I think this is on the back so you can see. This was her original series, so we're reading that. So far they're not as in love with that as this one. That one does have more of an Addams Family, spooky, Halloweeny, gross vibe. Okay, my one issue with this is the amount of farting in this book is ridiculous. Everyone's always farting galore, but in the Amelia Fang, they eat gross stuff and they do gross stuff. So we're not sure how we feel about it yet. We've only just started it. And I personally, Sylvie, am going to be reading Nevermore, The Trials of Morrigan Crow by Jessica Townsend. I have heard so many good things about this from other adult booktubers. So I think this is like a middle grade book that I'm guessing it's sort of got that Harry Potter quality to it, where really enjoyable for both middle graders and adults alike. So I'm excited to start this one. That's everything from Kids Corner for this month. I hope that wherever you are having a knockout morning, afternoon, or evening. And as always, stay wild, Star Child.